here today with Joe the Champ.
How's it going, Casey?
How's it been going?
You know what? It's a fantastic thing being the champ here of the D, but I'm getting really tired of this social media nonsense. All these haters, all these people talking out, especially somebody who we brought in, my brother-in-law, Brian. You know, he comes in and he starts flapping his jaws with a little whine, jibber jabber. And you know what? I understand. He's always wanted somebody like me in his life when he's a little kid, looking out his window at nighttime, praying on a shooting star that he gets somebody like me. And then he meets my sister and my mom and my family. We all take him in, a little wet puppy dog out in the rain. Nobody loves him. But then he wants to run his mouth. And now he's pissed me off. And I know he's quaking, shaking his little booties. His little whitey tighties got a little dookie stain on it. Got the little piss dropping down his leg. But you know what? You're messing with the wrong person, Brian. Because you know when I roll in, you're rolling out in a body bag. And when I find you, buddy, you're done.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Movie Madness. It is I, the CHAMP of the D, the back-breaking, belt-taking, soul-shaking champ, Joseph Stones, with my guest today, Dimitri. Got over here running the board, my protege, Casey. Wave to the camera, Casey. And we got the guy over there, Tyler or something, whoever he is, with, you know, the finger in his eye or whatever going on.
Yeah, I'm trying to, alleviate the pain in my brain that happens when you talk.
Oh, maybe you're a little tired because my house got egged in toilet paper last night there. Garrett, you know anything about that?
Why would I know anything about that?
I don't know, because things keep on, apparently still keep happening, that you claim you're not doing anything.
What? I was working last night.
Till what time?
10:30?
Oh, that's funny. I get out at 11. My house was fine. I wake up at 7 o'clock this morning and go take kids to school. And
I was home sleeping.
I'm sure you were. We'll see.
Can we do this?
Anyways, today, we have our usual sponsors. We got Rockin Horse Tattoo. Get your ink there. We got Seasonal Sports. Get all your screen print in there. And then we got Dippin Donuts. Our man, Meech, who apparently forgot to bring his coffee and donuts, but whatever. He's still one of our sponsors. He's been our longest sponsor, and but he forgot to bring us something.
Next time.
So,
Next time.
My belly's crumbling. But today we got a great show. Hey, Kevin, what's our show today?
So today, we actually it's
Star
good that
Trek versus Star Wars, guys.
It's good that we have both guys. Okay, Demetrios is going to be over here doing the left side of the board. Star Trek. We're going to do all Star Trek. Then we're going to flip it, and then Casey's going to help us, and then we're going to do
Star Wars.
We're going to do Star Wars.
All right.
All right. So,
this is awesome. This is probably this has been like the battle for as long as I've been alive. Which is better, Trek or Wars? I personally have a love for both.
I have a super love for both.
Childhood story with me. First with Star Wars, okay? What are we doing first, Star Wars or Star Trek?
Star Trek.
So, okay, Star Trek. My father, God rest his soul, Papa C, he was a huge Star Trek fan. From the original show, Next Generation. I remember when I was a little kid, us going Christmas shopping, my mom's at work, and my dad goes, this was actually Riverside Mall, for anybody locally remembers that. They had a movie theater in there, and he goes, he's got me and my sisters with him, he goes, listen, we're going to the movies. We're like, he's like, you guys better be good. Remember, Santa's watching. And we go in, and it's Star Trek VI, The Undiscovered Country. And it's one of the first movies I remember seeing. And I knew Star Trek, but we watched Next Generation at that point. So, I was kind of aware, but not real aware, and then I watched it. And you got this heavyset guy named Captain Kirk and whatever, and it piqued my personal interest. And I'm like, what is this? And then reruns started coming on of the original show, and I loved it. I loved the concept. Star Trek has always been something that has piqued my interest because it's the police force, but in outer space. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then with Star Wars, I must have been 5 or 6 in summertime, and I see a commercial, and it's like, 3 nights, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, 8 o'clock, we're doing New Hope, Empire Strikes Back, Return of the Jedi. And I go, Mom, can I stay up late and watch this? She's like, if you can stay up, you can watch as long as you're good, whatever. And I watched that first one. I stayed up the whole entire time, and it literally changed my life. I didn't know something like that existed. And all 3 nights I stayed up and watched, and it, like, oh my God, the bad guy's Luke's father. Like, Ewoks, everything. Like, and it, like, both franchises impacted me in my taste growing up. So, like, this is something almost as I'm excited about almost as much as I was for the MCU one last time we did. So I'm personally pumped. I don't know about you guys, but
well, I think you and I share very.
I was asking Dimitri.
That just listen. That you and I share very similar experiences with this, which is why it's good that we also then have 2 other people here to help that are specialized in both in different categories, because it's we're split. I feel like we get split down the middle, and that's good.
Right.
And we have people who are drawn to the other side. So
to the dark side.
let's let's start with Star Trek. Let's just jump right in. So let's go with we're gonna go the first movie, Star Trek: The Motion Picture,
greatest Star Trek movie ever,
versus Insurrection. All right. So we have the first of the old cast and one of the last good one of the. So another quick thing about both sides of these, there's 13 Star Wars movies altogether, so we had to eliminate one. Nemesis is not on here. If you have to ask why, you're not a Star Trek fan.
Yeah, just please.
And you don't even know. And then for Star Wars, there's only 11 movies, so we actually added the Clone Wars animated movie, which helped launch the Clone Wars show. So, but yeah. So
now, Meech, which one was Insurrection?
Insurrection was right after First Contact.
Right.
Basically, it's Insurrection. It's a story as old as time. It's about the relocation of people from one planet to the other. I mean, it was, to me, the story and the moral of the story is really good, and I enjoyed a lot of, because you watch First Contact. First Contact's a very
I love First Contact.
It's a great movie.
First Contact,
great movie. But here's the thing. In First Contact, you've got the Borg basically assimilating everybody.
Right.
Picard's killing people with freaking machine guns. It's dark as all hell.
It's so good.
But it's good. But, Star Trek fans like a little bit of, they want a little bit of lightheartedness. So Insurrection was a little more lighthearted. They tried to have it similar to Star Trek 4, The Voyage Home, which drew them big money back in the 80s.
Well, that was once we get to that, we'll talk about that. I just want to make sure Insurrection was the one that I was thinking of.
There was also, I think it was a 2-parter episode of Next Generation that was very much like this. It had to do more with Worf and his adopted brother, wasn't it? Where they were trying to relocate some people.
I'm trying to think.
There's a lot of episodes of it.
There's a lot of. You could like literally take anything from Next Generation, talk about relocating people. It's been in the original series. They did. I think. Well, obviously. If you watch Picard, obviously the relocation of the whole Romulan Empire because of the Romulan star going supernova. So there's a lot of that.
The motion picture, I feel like the script for it was genius. The story was genius. However, the execution was a little lacking.
The thing,
you know what I mean? It ended up feeling a bit boring while when you find out what V'ger is and everything and all that stuff, and you're like, oh, that's really cool.
It's
that's
unreal.
super smart.
Yeah.
But the execution of the movie was a little slow. So for me, I'm honestly torn between these two. So, I know there's other ones I can choose more between.
So with the motion picture obviously sets up arguably my favorite movie in the whole original movie with Wrath of Khan. Like this whole movie has a lot of plants a lot of the seeds that play out in Wrath of Khan. I personally will pick motion picture first over Insurrection, solely because you have that scene in the beginning where everybody it's that. The boys are back in town. The band's back together, and you get that feeling. It's that where with the Next Generation movies, to me, you never really up until recently, with Picard, you didn't have a big period of time where you didn't have these guys together.
Right.
There's always something. Even with all the other shows. Like, you always had people showing up, so like they always stayed in your mind. Where with these guys, there was nothing from them for almost 20 years.
Yeah, there was
and then you see them, and like they're all blatantly older. They've all like been through something, and to see them all back in those original roles, to me, would put motion picture over Insurrection for me. So my vote goes for motion picture.
I love the motion picture. I've seen it about 30 times. I love Insurrection as well. I mean, so because I look at motion picture, you just look at the musical score of the motion picture.
Absolutely.
I mean, it sets up the entire Star Trek universe from the motion picture all the way up to basically the series going on now. But the script is not as the script in essence is good when Gene Roddenberry wrote it, but the execution of it, the lines, mind you, these guys haven't been together for 20 years.
Right.
Let's kind of, explain them back again, because there's a lot of people that aren't Star Trek fans. They want to know who these guys really are.
Right.
Correct.
So, but it's Insurrection. Insurrection's a great movie. Insurrection has a lot of good parts in it. You have the rekindling of the romance between Troy and Riker.
Where you going, Meech? Come on.
I gotta go motion picture, space opera, baby.
Yeah.
Space opera.
Yeah, I didn't know where to go, but you
don't have to.
You talked me into motion picture, so so motion picture is definitely gonna go up for that. So then next we have The Search for Spock versus The Final Frontier.
This is
now
What number is Final Frontier?
5.
5.
5.
So
I personally love Final Frontier.
So do I.
So this is 4 versus 5, right?
No. This is
3 versus 5.
Okay.
3 versus 5.
Journey Home was
The Voyage Home.
Yeah, Voyage Home was 4. Yeah.
So obviously, The Search for Spock. I don't know. It's great, but I feel
See, I like Search for Spock.
I obviously like all these movies.
Well, hold on
it's
for a
hard,
second,
it's hard
guys.
to say anything.
Hold
but
on, guys.
Final Frontier, I thought was great. Like,
let me drop.
I feel like it doesn't get enough shine.
Well, hold on for a second. Let me drop a little nugget about Star Trek 3. Robin Curtis, who played Lieutenant Savick, was born in New York Mills.
Oh yeah,
local actress made big.
That's awesome.
So I mean, don't let that sway your decision.
Yeah,
but,
no, it's not going to sway my decision. This is movie madness, not where actors from somewhere madness. Like that's awesome. Like I just said, I love Search for Spock. Like I feel like that really kind of it caps that original, like everything that happens in those first few movies.
2, 3, and 4 are really like one big cohesive story.
Well, one's almost a prequel to them. Like those first 4 really play very much like their own separate thing. Where the final 2, even though it plays with everything else, kind of do their own thing.
Yeah.
I'm going for Search for Spock.
Is that where you would go?
Me?
Because I don't know if you know this, but the actress, she's from New York.
Yeah, well, I mean, listen. Actually, believe it or not, I'm going to go with 5. Now 5 is known as production values. They were horrible, but 2 things that got me about 5, and I love 3 too. This is a really hard decision for me, but 5 was you saw the relationship between Spock, McCoy, and Kirk. You saw the relationship how wonderful it is and how enduring it is. And also, too, don't believe in false gods and false prophets as well. At the end of the movie, when Slyabach thinks that he's found Shakari and he's basically found God, it's not really God. Right. So it just says, do not believe in false idols. And so that's kind of why I like that, because it kind of tells that story. Yeah. Also, too, it tells a story that it doesn't matter, with the universe. God created everything, created the universe, and everyone has a name for that person. So right. I like that message from 5. I thought 5.
Demetrius 3:16, y'all.
You know it.
Yeah. Again, like the Search for Spock is great. The whole everything with being on that planet. Obviously, the whole movie. It's called The Search for Spock. But me personally, I'm going Frontier as well.
Oh snap!
Shatner's disasters. I love it.
I do. There's just something about. I like the fact that here comes Spock's you know,
Half brother,
but he's more like he has the ears, but he's more human. You know, embraces more of that side, and so he's just. Actually,
Garrett, I'm sorry, I don't mean to correct you. Sybok isn't human; he's actually Vulcan, but he did not embrace the teachings of Sirach.
Right.
He wasn't have to. He's full.
He's full Vulcan. He's full Vulcan.
Here we are, 38 years old. I just found out, realized that he was full. See, I thought he was. No. I thought he was also half.
I feel like you got to be taught a lot of things at 38 years old.
So basically, he did not want the teachings of Sirach. He wanted to embrace the emotions, and he was able to control his emotions, unlike most Vulcans were.
Right.
And I can't control my emotions too.
Yeah, we know. Yeah, we know. All right, so Frontier is going to move on. And, all right, so we're going to move down, all right, here. So then we've got the J.J. Abrams' new Star Trek, okay, versus Generations.
Oh, this is so hard
for me. This is hard because...
This is hard for me,
so, my dad and I went and saw that new Star Trek when it came out. And, you know, that whole first scene, you know, Chris Hemsworth comes on and
pre-Thor,
no one knew who this guy was. He steals the scene.
Yeah.
Oh my god!
If you don't cry at the end of that, then you're not a human being. I'm sorry.
So that whole scene happens, and then
Vulcans are human beings. Vulcans are Vulcans.
So the whole scene happens, and then then it comes up and says Star Trek, and that's when you first realize that the credits hadn't even rolled. That was just the intro scene. And I looked at my dad and I said, that was better. That intro was better than most movies I've seen the past few years. So that movie is incredible.
Yes.
On the other hand, we have the one where Malcolm McDowell is the bad guy, and it's both Picard.
This blows my mind because Shatner. That's what you're so you got Picard and Kirk.
Hard. I hate that I wrote it down like this.
So Generations. I've loved Generations. I think Generations is probably the most underrated Star Trek movie on there because unlike all these other Star Trek movies, it literally majority of that movie is almost the purgatory of the two captains that we know best.
Yes.
Like just talking. And as people that do a podcast, I love listening to people talk and their views and everything else about it. And like I thought it was such a great concept, so well done by the two of them. And like let's be honest, Patrick Stewart can't do anything wrong. Like the man is like really
unbelievable.
One of the best out there. And like Shatner, for what Shatner does, his Kirk is something that's always been there. But like these reboot Star Wars or Star Trek movies, I personally did not have high hopes for them.
Right.
And like the casting, I was like, oh, this is cool casting. Like these are all guys I know and everything. Like, they'll do great. Chris Pine's version of Kirk is, and he didn't try to copy shit. Like he literally he took what the character's essence is and rolled with it.
Yeah.
And I almost feel like the chemistry between Pine and what's his face?
Zach Quinto.
Zach Quinto and the dude who plays McCoy.
Carl Urban.
Carl Urban.
My God.
Oh my God. Dude.
I mean,
I might throw up on you.
But he's not like he's a badass.
Yeah.
And to think of him as McCoy, like he's Bones. Like, but then he plays it perfect. Like that movie. Like it blew me away. It is like
a lot of magic in that movie.
It is one of my top 10 movies of all time. I will watch it from the Beastie Boys, like, and to set Kirk up, like you get his history, and as quick as they do it too.
Yeah.
To see like everything, like having to deal with the trauma of literally your father died to save you and your mom,
right?
And like you have this legacy that you're supposed to live up to, but you're constantly running away from it. And to almost by chance join Starfleet, and by chance connecting with these guys that you connect, and like I like how they like did the multiverse their own little spin on. You know what? Kirk wasn't even supposed to be captain. That was supposed to be Spock. Like
right.
that, like he and the whole I always say it wrong. The computer program,
Kobayashi
Maru. Yeah. And like how he did all of it, and the way they put that spin on everything, the way the casting of that movie, like that, I'm going the reboot. Like, as much as I love Generations, I'm going the reboot because that reboot is so rewatchable, so good.
I like how in the script they acknowledge how they're living in an alternate timeline.
Exactly.
Oh, absolutely. And like
they have
having Nimoy in it, like
that because someone from the future that we're still watching with Picard and everything on came back and created a different timeline that these people are living in, and by doing so they accelerated the events of their lives. So instead of so everything happens in a 3-year period instead of happening in 2 decades period.
Good, Eric Bana kills it, like as the bad guy.
Yeah, like everyone in that movie was so perfectly cast, and it's just, it really is so good. I'm hoping that you also pick the Star Trek because I don't even want to make a choice here.
You want me to make the choice?
No, yeah,
it's so difficult because I love Generations. Generations is the opening scene of Generations where Kirk goes to, he goes.
Oh,
can we
Enterprise C?
Yeah. Can we get a tractor beam?
Great.
Can we? No. Yeah. Can we? No. The Enterprise B.
Oh, is it B or C?
Yeah, the Enterprise
C,
B.
okay.
The Enterprise B. The Enterprise B was an Excelsior class. Enterprise C was a Galaxy class. Right. Captain Rachel Garrett, that was in Star Trek Next Generation.
Right.
And if anybody wants to sign up for Meech's classes online on
I think I
the
might
Starfleet craft, just hit him up on Facebook and
be your first
he'll sign you up.
Apparently, I don't know.
Thank you, Joe. But I mean, I love Generations, and I love Kirk, and William Shatner is probably the greatest actor of our generation and of our parents' generation as well.
Don't you have that tramp stamp, Kirk?
I do. Love Kirk. I have to go with the reboot in 2009 just because of the writing, the way it was done.
I didn't want to choose
the emotion that you got out of it.
I agree.
I mean, it was done very well, and then also too, they also made sure to say it's an alternate timeline, guys.
Yeah,
honestly, it might be the most rewatchable of
it
all
is.
the
It's
Star
extremely
Trek
rewatchable.
movies.
Yeah,
and plus, too, if you want to get somebody into Star Trek, that's a good way to do it because you can go through the original series, you can try like the movies and stuff, but if you watch any of the original 6 movies with the original cast in it,
You got to watch the show.
you have to watch a couple episodes of the show to introduce them to the person you're trying to get to it. 2009, you can just be like, listen, this is an alternate timeline. This is totally different. And it's with actors and actresses that people will recognize.
Right.
So to me, it's got to be 2009. But hey, JJ, fuck your lens flares.
Whoa.
Sorry.
There's too many for you?
Too many lens flares. I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, JJ's.
I think it was okay in the first one, but to keep it up in the other 2 was a little.
Yeah. A lot of.
Leave JJ alone. JJ's
listen,
a genius.
a lot of Star Trek fans don't like JJ because JJ's gone on record say that he didn't like directing Star Trek. So, JJ, go pound salt somewhere else. How's that?
Which now leads us actually to its sequels. We got both of them together. We got Beyond and Into Darkness.
This is tough.
Now
this is tough.
I know where I lie here.
I know where I lie too, and it's a very close choice for me.
And I know where I lie as well. So
because I thought Beyond was a great movie. I thought it was a great concept, great story, and everything. But Into Darkness, their spin on Khan, Benedict Cumberbatch, I absolutely love.
And I know, so great.
And I know a lot of people didn't didn't like the fact that they threw their own spin on Khan, and it was a completely different story.
Alternate
I liked it.
timeline. Timeline has been altered. Things are different, guys.
To the degree
I'm agreeing with you.
I know you're agreeing, but I'm just saying. But these fans online, it's like, guys.
I don't know if you watch what I said earlier. I'm tired of these.
Yeah,
everybody has
exactly all these internet marks and
even our opinions don't matter. The show really doesn't matter. This is just us talking.
Venting,
but at the end of the day, Into the Darkness, was fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
It was a fantastic sequel. The way they played everything out, the storyline itself, again, Cumberbatch. Doctor Strange, right, Casey? It's great, and the whole entire time you're like, there's all the speculation. Oh, is it Khan? Is it not Khan? And then you start watching the movie, and you're like, oh, this is definitely not Khan. this has nothing to do with Khan. And then guess what? It is Khan.
It is
And like,
Khan.
I was completely okay with it. And like that whole like the whole scene like at the end and everything, like with it's awesome. It's great action. Like I don't think it was as good as the first, just for that opening scene of the first alone.
Yeah.
But if you take that out of it, they're like very comparable. They fit so well together.
Yeah.
And Beyond also great. Like I honestly wish Anton
Yelkin
didn't
Anton
pass away
Yelch,
because
yeah.
I think that really put a big break on everything. But
he was one of my favorites.
Dude,
he was great.
Oh, he's fantastic. But like that trilogy is fantastic, and it sucks these movies are up against each other.
Yeah.
But to me, Into the Darkness is just a little bit better than Beyond.
Yeah, that's where
Because
I would
there's
go
more
with that,
space.
too.
Where Beyond was they landed somewhere and they're like it's like the middle of a Star Trek episode. You know what I mean? Like where they're on the planet before they get beamed up.
They go at it. It was very much more action or orientated, but Darkness I feel like told a better story.
Absolutely.
You know, I liked how they flipped the death.
Yeah.
You know,
like that. I love
was,
that. I absolutely love that.
And
that
was it
was
I thought it was smart. You know, it's like
Alternate timeline. Alternate timeline.
Yeah, that's
so,
it.
I felt it was. I liked everything about Into Darkness way better. So yeah, that's where.
So you don't even have to pick Meech, but where would you have gone?
I would have gone Beyond.
Really? Okay.
Here's the thing about Beyond. Beyond is it's a Simon Pegg actually wrote Beyond. So. And I like the story of Beyond because it really shows, the struggle of Star Trek and shows like it kind of harkens back to like a lot of the original series stuff as well, where they land on an unknown planet, they got to try to get out. They tie in a lot with Enterprise, where they have Idris Elba. What was the villain's name? And I can't remember right now.
I'll look it up. Keep talking.
So basically, where that scene where they're in the ventilation unit. And Kirk's trying to talk sense to me. You were once a star. What was wrong with you? And he goes, "You break bad with our enemies, the Zindi who destroyed everything." And to me, I just like that a lot. And then plus two, Yorktown,
Captain Balthazar Edison / Crawl.
Crawl, yes, Crawl. And to me, obviously, I was saddened when they destroyed the Enterprise, but.
How many times has the Enterprise been destroyed, buddy?
God, it's so sad. I cry every time. But
I'm sure you have an extensive list of how many Enterprises there have been.
Yeah, I can basically tell you the Enterprise.
Anyways.
So, but I mean, I wouldn't went Beyond, but I love Into Darkness. I love when Kirk dies, I literally cried. Like I have never cried that hard ever. And I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. I'm crying at the end of a Star Trek movie. I mean, it was just it was
I
done.
cry all the time during shows.
I try not to cry.
Like last night we were watching Turner and Hooch with the kids, and dog got kidnapped.
Oh God!
The champ started tearing up a little.
Oh
bit.
my God! No, if I see an animal die, that's it. I'm done. I'm done.
See?
All right. So, okay. So then, Into Darkness moves on.
Okay.
Now, got a few more movies to talk about because we have our 4-seeded coming up. So now we have.
Let's start at the bottom first.
You want to? Okay. You want to go on the bottom? Okay.
Yeah.
So now we're gonna
work our way
do
up.
Into Darkness versus Voyage Home.
I'm going Darkness.
Whoa!
Wow.
Whoa!
That's my opinion, Dimitri.
Whoa!
Wow.
Like I said, like I love the original 6, and some of those are higher up for me, but the new trilogy, like I really think is almost flawless, and I love Into the Darkness like over Voyage Home. Voyage Home's a great movie. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
Like I love it. The whales, everything. Like and like it's very cool to see the whole crew in the past and San Francisco and
I love how they actually have to use the Klingon bird of prey.
Yeah.
To go back in time. Like that was always one of my more favorite.
Yeah, that
things,
was.
I thought
you didn't see that too often.
It's one of the more rewatchable of the original series,
yes.
and I thought it was a really cool concept, and it's a great movie, but for me, it's not as much a Star Trek movie as a movie with the Star Trek crew doing something different.
Right.
Where Into the Darkness is a Star Trek movie.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, that's a time travel movie with a Star Trek crew.
Well, and the thing with Star Trek 4, I mean, obviously, I love Star Trek 4. It's one of my favorite movies. But with Star Trek 4 is really it's a social commentary.
Oh, absolutely.
On whaling and destroying the environment, and then how our actions in the past can come back to haunt us in the future. That's the reason why they had the probe come and basically wreck everything, destroy everything that has anything that deals with electricity or anything. So,
which is a concept that is touching on the reboot.
Yes,
and I think it almost done in a better way in the reboot, because instead of giving you a specific social commentary, which Star Trek Voyage Home does, and those were big things in the 80s when that movie did come out.
Yeah.
Well, the reboot kind of gives more of a broad thing where it's like, look, something you did then can affect your future. And I think it's done better. And I think Into the Darkness just is a better movie overall. Like, in A Voyage Home, I love the movie, and nothing to knock it. But again, I think Into the Darkness just is a true Star Trek movie, a better Star Trek movie, and Voyage Home is, like you said, it's a movie that's had social commentary, but to me it's a movie with a Star Trek crew doing something different, which is fine, but it's not.
So where would you actually go with these two?
I mean, I love Into Darkness, Joe. I'm sorry, but I have to go.
No, you don't apologize.
I have to go Voyage Home. Just because, to me, seeing the acting, like the ranges that the actors were able to do during this movie, especially the comedy aspect, where Spock plays like the straightest man ever. Like it absolutely, I just die laughing when like
Zachary Quinto.
Yeah.
when they get ready to leave to go back home with the whales in it, and Kirk goes to him, "Come on, Spock, let's go." And Spock's like, "One damn minute, Admiral." I mean, that part right there, I die laughing at that. And Scotty going, "Hello, computer," through the mouse is just great. And a lot of the special effects in the movie are just wonderful. Like the whales, those are not real whales.
Right.
PETA was like flipping like terrible during the PETA. But I mean, PETA was flipping off because these are, how can you do this to the real whales? And like, these aren't real whales.
Yeah.
They're obviously not bringing whales to the future.
Obviously, yeah. But they looked so realistic. And plus, too, where they shot that movie, they actually dug up a part of the parking lot at Paramount because there was an underground pool there where the parking lot was built in. So they dug it out, and that's how they were able to do a lot of the water scenes.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Tom, what's your vote?
I'm personally torn between. Yeah, he just keeps doing this. Just ignore it. It's better if you just.
He's
ignore
insignificant.
Him. So, oh man, these two. I mean, as iconic as Voyage Home is for all the reasons you say, I feel like Darkness is actually a better Star Trek movie. More to the point where Joe said,
I love them all, so it's okay.
I hate agreeing with him, but I do feel like
he is the champ. So I mean, you gotta.
He's right with that. One of my more harder decisions is actually coming in the next one right here, which is the new Star Trek versus First Contact.
Oh, that's
First Contact is my personal favorite Star Trek movie. Period.
So that's your vote.
I'm just putting it out there already in. It's still hard. It feels hard to make because of how good the new Abrams Star Trek is. But First Contact.
I have a lot of love for First Contact. I always thought the Borg were an awesome villain. Like the whole complete opposite of like what humans are and like what Starfleet was trying to do. And First Contact is a great movie. And for when it came out, it was great. It still holds up. It's pretty rewatchable, but it doesn't beat the reboot. It does not beat the reboot. And as much like having Picard, like the whole bad guy version of Picard, I loved it during the show. Like I remember when it first aired, being a little kid watching that, and like you had the season finale and then the start of the next season.
Yeah.
And the one thing that always bothered me about the Borg, okay, is their ship is a damn square. That makes no
Borg
sense.
cube.
The Borg cube.
Right, but
More
like,
efficient, I guess.
how is that more efficient? That is not aerodynamic at all.
Space, it doesn't need to be aerodynamic.
Doesn't need to be aerodynamic in space, unfortunately. It's just, I guess
that's why I always thought it was genius.
the thing with the Borg, I mean,
Throws
the Borg,
you off.
Yeah, the Borg is such a the villain itself, I mean, you can basically say that's how.
They're basically Skynet.
Yeah, basically Skynet, or basically that's what the real powers to be. That's what they want everyone to be. They want everyone to be this mindless like person that just follows orders from them, and everyone is just the same. That's kind of what scares me about the Borg. Shoot, this is tough because they both are really great movies.
And you're the decision right now.
I'm the decision. I have to go the reboot.
Oh, come on.
I have to go
Garrett broke your heart, and now you're breaking his heart back.
I have to. I mean, no, it's not. It's not because of I want to break Garrett's heart. I could care less about breaking Garrett's heart.
Nobody cares about
You do
Garrett.
that every week, Joe.
Yeah.
I'd say
Breaks my heart having to do the shows with him.
I have to, because of the emotion that you got. I mean, you got a lot of emotion out of First Contact as well. But
nothing like that reboot.
That opening scene where George Kirk sacrifices himself to save his wife and his kid,
Just think about what about Tiberius? Oh, like you hear,
oh my God!
You're not naming him that. What about Jim after your father?
Yeah.
Oh, it just oh.
No, okay, but the scene where Picard calls Worf a coward is one of the best scenes ever.
It's not an easy decision, bro.
Worf literally says, "If you were any other man, I would kill you where you stand."
I love that. Assimilate this, where he kicks it.
Oh,
they're really It's a great movie, but
I remember the first I was in the theaters, I was watching the movie, and they said that to each other, and like a chill went down my stomach.
I mean,
'cause I was like, "Yo, Worf would literally
I didn't know jellyfish had spines."
Stab somebody. Shut up, Joe.
I mean, no, listen. You can't. It's tough because they're two really great movies. So
Mark it down,
That's
Casey.
fine. That's fine. Star Trek reboot. All right.
what an upset!
What an upset.
Reboot over
I'm
First Contact.
actually upset. All
You
right,
are
so
upset.
Now we have 5 and 6 actually.
Okay.
It's undiscovered country for me.
Oh my God, Undiscovered Country.
It is undiscovered country.
I'm sorry.
Okay, so we don't even.
I mean, this is a no-brainer.
So for me, also, actually, as I got older, something that my dad said about these movies rang true. He's like, because people always compare Star Wars and Star Trek, and Star Wars was more like the fantasy opera style. And like Star Trek was like very much the socio-political commentary.
It was like more like a series.
And this movie was like the ultimate one.
This was
this was the
Soviet Union.
Penultimate.
Yeah, this was the Soviet Union versus the United States. The fall of the Soviet Union was the Klingon Empire.
Some Cold War shit. Like
big time.
It was. It's a genius script. Everything that happened in 5 is cool. We already talked about it. It's awesome. But like Undiscovered Country with like the spy stuff going on, it was great.
You have conspiracy, you have cover up, you have a false flag. You have everything in Star Trek 6. And plus two, the acting in Star Trek 6 is unbelievable. I mean, Christopher Plummer, David Warner, and you bring in Kim Cattrall. I think this was Kim Cattrall's first big movie role.
Well, actually, no. Her first big movie role was in Porky's, where she was the Howler teacher.
Okay.
Yes.
So they bring her in as Valeris, and she killed it as Valeris.
And did this come out before Mannequin or after Mannequin or around there?
I don't know.
Because she was in Mannequin. And
this is after. This was like this came out around the time Batman Returns.
1991. This movie came out.
So I mean, Mannequin had come out. So, but still, I mean, she was still doing. She was popping up in a lot of stuff. Actually.
You know what the crazy thing was? They actually wanted Saavik to be the traitor.
Oh yeah.
And Spock and everyone was like, no, we don't want Saavik to be the traitor because Saavik was very, very. They want to keep Saavik pure. So, but Saavik didn't even appear in this movie. So,
so we got Undiscovered Country won this one. The next is, I think, is pretty.
I mean, do we got it? Do we have to talk about it? I mean,
all I have to say
motion picture, baby.
Yeah.
No, I'm joking. No, it's Wrath of Khan.
I can, and I shall always be. Your friend.
Yeah, that's
like.
Yeah, it's. I mean, Wrath of God. Just I mean,
that's like that tears me up. That whole
Kirk shaking the communicator and yelling Khan into it. You know what I mean? Like
it's just
that. Like that and his like Destiny Generations were probably, and I'm not trying to crap on the guy, but like probably like the best acting he ever did.
Bridge on the Captain.
That is the best acting I ever did.
So yeah. So now, all right. So do we? Which one do we want? Do we want to do Khan versus Undiscovered or Star Trek versus?
That's Khan for me.
Khan?
You're still going with Khan?
I'm still going with Khan,
Okay.
and like as much as I love,
I think we have to. It's
no, for me it's Undiscovered.
Really over Khan?
Undiscovered over Khan.
See, I have to go Khan over over
6. I mean,
over Undiscovered.
To me, 6 to me is probably. I just love 6. 6 is
Six is my second favorite out of all those movies.
well, and Khan is it's like 1A and 1B.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
So
yeah, it was.
So we got 2 for Khan, right?
2 for Khan.
Now we got what? Into the Darkness versus the reboot.
Yeah.
And I already said what mine was. The reboot is just because of that opening scene is better
reboot.
than Into the.
We gotta go with the reboot.
So we're not having Khan versus Khan.
We're not having Khan versus Khan. We're having reboot versus arguably the best.
This is hard.
of the original number 2, which so many people I know. Mike, who was on here, would say that Khan is hands down the best. Star Trek movie.
I'm going to start it off so I don't have to make the choice. I'm going reboot.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
I'll
I'm
go
going reboot.
Khan. Yeah.
Oh, look, there he is. There's the speak of the devil, Mike. Khan all day. See?
You have to go with Khan. I mean, listen.
So what do you pick, Terry?
So you're going.
I'm going reboot, bud.
You're going reboot, and you're going.
I'm going Khan because
You're going
Khan is 1B, the greatest Star Trek movie ever.
Yeah, but the reboot is damn near perfection.
I wouldn't say that. There's some stuff in the reboot that they could have done better.
The reboot is damn near perfection,
But Star Trek 2 is perfection.
but Khan is
Ricardo Montalban.
Khan wins.
All right.
You can.
It's got to be Khan.
I mean, don't get me wrong. Yeah.
It's so like
I love Khan. I'm not mad.
Ricardo
I know.
Montalban is.
I'm not mad.
Him quoting
How
Moby
fantastic
Dick.
is he? Is he as a bad guy?
Oh,
You know what I mean?
he's-
Like
He's amazing.
like this, like just this the smugness that like wafts off of him. You know what I mean? Like he's so good at it.
Also too, in Wrath of Khan as well, talking about your kind of like, your socio-political stuff. Who was the captain of the USS Reliant before Khan took it over?
I have a feeling you're about to tell us.
It was Captain Terrell. He was an African-American captain. That was the first time that you really saw like an African-American leading a starship, basically,
Oh, okay.
So Star Trek's always been the forefront of that, especially with like Voyager and everything, with having Kate Mulgrew as a female lead in that.
Right.
So.
All right. So
What, you guys flip-flop your seats?
Yeah, it's
And
time.
I'm going to take over on the board here for the lesser sci-fi.
Shots fired. Shots fired.
Hey,
Look at that.
Got to do it.
All right.
Well.
Here we go.
Here we
Casey, what's up?
Here we are.
So yeah. So Dim, why don't you actually, can you flip the no, you're good there.
What do you want me to do?
Move your stool to the other side. Like block
okay.
Star Trek.
Oh, block Star Trek. Okay.
Yeah.
You got it.
There you go, buddy. And then and we'll be good. So all right, let's just jump into it. It's Star Wars. It's the more fantasy
It's
thing.
the more dramatic.
It didn't get very it didn't get political at all like Star Trek does until like one and everything like that,
first
like
three
the
episodes.
like one, 2, and 3
yeah,
with the way that the Emperor took over the galaxy, which is genius. The
Right.
way the way they wrote him do that. So we're gonna go. Let's start with the Phantom Menace versus the Force Awakens.
Force Awakens.
Anyone
Force Awakens.
Yeah.
Force Awakens 100%.
Yes.
Because
it's Force Awakens.
Don't get me wrong. Phantom Menace introduces, you got Darth Maul, which awesome.
He's my personal favorite Sith. I just think he looks cool. I like the double lightsaber. Ray Park is a great
in everything he does.
Stuntman / actor, you know. So
I don't know. Like there are a couple good things that Phantom Menace sets up and that are fine. I wouldn't say that are excellent.
Right.
But where Force Awakens really it touches so many different strings in your heart, bringing back everybody from the original and tying it in with these new characters who you don't know. You're kind of guessing who they are. Who are they related to this one? And for me, the scene with Han and with Ben on that bridge,
right?
And I'm gonna call him Ben because that's who he is,
right?
And Harrison Ford going out the way he goes out, and when you have Chewie go losing his shit, and it just sacrificing yourself for your kid,
right?
And as a parent, I know that it's something any parent would do for their child,
right?
And it's something that it touches you in a way that not many things can. And just the movie itself is it's beautiful.
It is.
And
it as much as Awakens is very much a a 2010 copy paste of A New Hope.
Oh, absolutely.
It still did a lot of things well. You know what I mean?
It was a nice
2010? Didn't it come out?
No, 2010s. Like it.
Oh,
like
yeah.
Like that decade.
I was gonna say, I was like,
that decade.
So yeah, I'm not even sure the actual like real year it came out. But
So
like
I think we all went Force Awakens on this.
Force Awakens.
Force Awakens, hands down.
Fantastic film.
And then we're gonna go right down here to Attack of the Clones versus Last Jedi. Now, me personally, I love Attack of the Clones. Okay, it's my favorite of the prequel trilogy, and even notches above other, even maybe a couple other ones. My personal story for this was, we're in the theater. The theater's shoulder to shoulder. It's what premiere night. We're all sitting there, and really cool lightsaber fight with Darth Tyrannus, and everything happens. They lose, and then Yoda comes hobbling in, right? And they have the Force battle, and that's cool. But then Yoda whips out a lightsaber and starts flipping around the room, and no one was sitting down. Everyone in the theater jumped up and was like grabbing each other. Everyone was losing their minds because we just saw Yoda take out a lightsaber and go to town with this dude. So for me, it hit like, and also I'm one of these people, I didn't hate The Last Jedi. I didn't. I thought a lot of cool things happened in it. Is it my favorite? No, but I didn't hate it. I think so many people, the way people hated it so much made me hate it less. I think maybe I don't know.
My choice is The Last Jedi in this matchup here because
Casey's face.
I really like The Last Jedi. I like crabby old man Luke Skywalker.
I love crabby old man Skywalker.
I like the scene with the Force Ghost to Yoda and him together. I liked everything it's set up in that movie. I love that movie.
I thought the in Last Jedi the scene. So he's disconnected himself with the Force.
He's disconnected himself from everything.
And he goes back in so deep that from across the galaxy he makes a droid see him. Mm-hmm. That's wicked powerful. That was big. That was to me. That was. I feel like no one talked about that part of the scene. I'm like, C-3PO saw him there. He didn't trick anybody else. He was pretty much standing there, and then went out and did everything he needed to, and he wasn't even there. And it was great. I thought it was great. It was genius. But Attack of the Clones for me is just way above.
Last Jedi for me. I'm assuming you're picking Attack of the Clones just by your reaction.
Let me say this: Attack of the Clones, I'm not huge on. It's a pretty good film, I think, but for me, and you mentioned it already. You mentioned Krabby Luke Skywalker. As someone who is a huge fan of Luke, is my favorite Jedi.
Okay.
That they've ever done. I will say right now, I felt like slapped in the face when I saw that in theaters.
Talk to me in 15 years when you're a crappy old man.
When you're a crappy old man, you're gonna
Once
feel
you start getting older, you'll understand what
Here's
Luke
the
did.
thing. I get why some people like it. I do, and I think there's some cool things in that movie. But for me, at least, Luke. I mean, if we go back to the original trilogy, Luke saw the good in one of the most evil human beings in all of the galaxy.
When he was 18 years old.
Right. But he was optimistic. He saw more. And even after he found out that he was his father, he saw more in Darth Vader. He saw that he could be pulled over to the light. That being said, now we go over to this. He is much more wise. He's had a lot of years of training. Obviously, he's become a Jedi Master at this point. He's taught younglings and things like that. And there's clearly a young Jedi, Ben Solo, who is on the brink of going over to the dark side. Maybe he's being pulled, but he thinks, okay, so the first thing to do here is just kill him in his sleep. What I feel like
he
that's
wasn't
just
actually,
a depart.
He wasn't actually trying to kill him in his sleep, though.
He thought about it.
He contemplated
it. He thought about it, but that's not why he was there. But Ben was manipulated into thinking that's why he was there. Like Luke, what? And then he was like, nah, I'm not going that route. But that spurred it. And like as you get older and like you're more like, this is why I like that version of it, because as you get older, the more experiences, you become less optimistic. You become less naive when it comes to like looking in the good in everybody, because like ultimately like that's not as true as it is. And I feel like the trajectory that he took after the failure and everything else that happened, like it's very logical that he's like, screw this, I'm out. Like I can't do this anymore. Right. Because he's gone through so much traumatic stuff from the time he was a child. Like, literally, from the time this kid was born, it's been trauma, losing people, failure. Oh, yeah, we saved the galaxy, but more failure. I lost everybody I loved. And it makes perfect sense that the dude would just bounce and be like, leave me alone.
Right.
It makes perfect sense
I got
for him to lose his optimism.
I could spend a whole podcast talking about. I could spend a whole time talking about the opening scene alone with Luke tossing the lightsaber over his shoulder.
Oh, I laughed my ass off.
I didn't. I felt attacked.
I thought it was so funny. Like,
so you're going Clone Wars?
Oh, you want me to help?
I would. Attack of the Clones. I would go on this one. Yeah, Ryan Johnson should never touch Star Wars again, in my opinion.
Oh, that's rough.
I mean, I would also agree that, right? Like I feel like he
went in interviews before he even got the job as Star Wars. He said
he's undoing everything JJ did. I know.
No, well, not just that. He said in multiple interviews before that, he said, if you are hiring me to make a movie, I'm going to make sure that I make half the people hate it and half the people love it. He said that in an interview.
And that's what he did.
And then they were like, okay, let's give one of the biggest fandoms in the world of Star Wars to this guy who's going to just throw away everything new and interesting that JJ was doing with it. I think it was a slaughter.
And it left a lot for Rise to clean up, which felt like too fast.
And that's why I think a lot of people don't like Rise as much.
Yeah, well, it was trying to clean up everything that happened on it.
What's our next match?
Bobby Perez on YouTube here says Luke is soft but a better hero than Anakin.
I would agree with that.
Yeah,
I would agree with that.
I always thought Luke was in the original trilogy was a little soft.
He's a young kid.
He's a young kid.
He hasn't been hard yet.
Yeah,
he's been growing up on a farm and then he's thrust into the galaxy.
And a lot of times he's always standing next to Han Solo, who was like a certified badass. Yeah. You know what I mean? So,
100%.
All right. So then now we're going to take it down to the only animated one on here, because there's only 11 Star Wars movies. So we have the animated Clone Wars movie, which helped launch the show, which is acclaimed by pretty much just
Fantastic
everybody, versus the Revenge of the Sith.
Revenge of the Sith was the best of the prequels.
Yeah,
100%.
I think
they
this
got
will go to the Sith.
yeah, they got away from the political stuff. The whole what is it, Order 66?
Order 66.
Order 66 scene like that. I was like, holy
Order
shit.
66 was cool, but for me,
That last scene.
the lightsaber fight was it was too over the top. It went like it was almost too much to it. Like, why did they have to also go all the way climb up a tower while fighting? Like it was like it's too much, and they're like tightrope walking on a thing. It was like it seemed like a joke to me. Like, you know what I mean?
You don't see it in the movies, but Anakin's growing up, being taught by Obi-Wan. This is over.
No, I'm saying they could have had a 10-minute scene in like that room where it started, and then gone out to like by the river, and then still ended up on the river and then back on the bank. Like no problem. It's the other stuff. You know what I mean?
Dude,
it's the other stuff. And
it's the best scene of the whole prequels.
And the whole
I love it.
That's great.
Oh my god!
Shot.
Get out of here!
It's shot terribly. It could have been so much better. Shot terribly.
Anyway,
Can
so
somebody
Revenge
shut
of
his mic off, please? Because he's just talking nonsense.
I control
Revenge of the
the mic.
Revenge of the Sith.
It's Revenge of the Sith, hands down. Because it's the movie it's up against. It's Revenge of the Sith, hands down.
Honestly, it was unfair of us to put Revenge of the Sith against.
Actually, to be honest, any of the movies against the animated. No offense to the animated movie, and it was good. Like I said, it was good.
I would put the animated movie against the second prequel.
You know. So then we have Solo versus Rise of Skywalker.
Ooh.
No, okay, Solo was a good movie. I actually really enjoyed it. I enjoyed learning about Han and his past and everything. I think if the original directors would have been kept and it would have been done the way that they wanted to do it, I would put Solo over Rise of Skywalker. With that being said, the version of Solo that we got, a good movie as it is, Rise of the Skywalker I feel was better. Just because you got your answers that you've been waiting in this trilogy. You found out who Rey's lineage was. You had Ben Solo come full circle. You got the closure that you needed for that storyline. And Solo is well cast as it was, and as much as it told, the version I thought we got was probably subpar to the version that we should have gotten. And I don't know. Do you got?
Little known fact about me, but my friends know it very well. I am a sucker for a good heist movie. I love Solo. I would go as far as saying, and this is going to be my hot take for the episode here, Solo's my favorite Disney-made Star Wars movie.
Okay.
I love it. I think it's fantastic. I think that the lead in that, not really going for a Harrison Ford impression, I think was smart. I wouldn't have liked it that much, I think. I think the cast is fantastic.
Oh, God. Daniel Glover is young Lando.
Oh, my God.
He's a talent.
Oh, my God.
He's one of the biggest creatives in all of
entertainment
Hollywood right now.
Childish Gambino, Community,
every level.
ETL, he's fantastic.
He's a genius on every level.
Fantastic.
100%.
I would say, though, Rise of Skywalker, if it didn't have to make up and basically have a bunch of slaps for Rian Johnson to make up for, I feel like that would have been a stronger movie. That being said, I'm an Ewok fan, and short story here, I told my friends, I said, when we went to see this movie, if I see an Ewok, I will lose it. And you know what? All my friends, my friend Chaz, he's the biggest Star Wars fan in the world. He told me, Casey, you have a better chance of showing up in this movie than Ewoks. He said that to me. The moment Ewoks came on screen at the end of it, I wept. I wept. It's not even a sad scene. But I wept because I love Ewoks. Right. I grew up with it. That's right. But that being said, I think that Solo is a stronger movie.
Okay.
But, yeah.
And you were, I'm sorry. What did you say? You were Rise?
I'm Rise.
You're Rise. I gotta go solo on this
Okay.
one. Me personally, I feel I liked the what was the name of the like the bandit ring or the criminal ring, the Crimson
Dawn. I believe.
Crimson
Yeah.
Dawn. I love the fact that it's what's his name?
Maul.
The Darth Maul.
Yeah.
Like that was great. Everyone in it is great. It's well cast.
No one talks about that too. Darth Maul in that is Ray Parker is playing the visual of
Right.
him, but Sam Witwer, who voiced Maul on the Clone Wars show, is doing the voice, and he is by far one of the biggest Star Wars fans that's working in Star Wars.
Right.
He is fantastic. He knows the characters super well.
He was Doomsday in Smallville, wasn't he?
Yeah,
I believe so.
He was
yeah.
he was
I believe
Star
so.
Killer in the
Yes.
He was.
Force
He's
Unleashed.
great.
Yep.
He also
game.
played the Emperor in some of the
Yes,
stuff as
yeah.
well.
So
He's great.
This. I feel like the next few, besides.
are we
the
starting at
last,
the bottom and going up, or
I feel like it's the only one that we're really going to have debate about when it comes to the next one, because I'm pretty sure it's going to go Return, Empire, and New Hope. Am I wrong?
Yeah, I mean,
shock you with those
Clones
opinions.
again is my favorite, but I feel like if I was even try to say it's better than Empire, I'd walk out and there'd be nerds outside waiting to shoot me. Like,
Yeah, that's the one.
Well,
that's- you're gonna have an issue
Mike
with.
would unfriend me in real life. You know what I mean?
Because I feel like that all those three. Like, I don't feel like there even needs to be a discussion there with those.
Yeah, I would argue with New Hope versus Sith.
Okay.
Yeah.
So throw Return
Okay.
and Empire on those other ones.
Yeah,
for me.
Return.
Alright,
goes
so
up.
yeah, Return.
So
I mean,
Return?
Return of the Jedi. Definitely better than definitely better. than Force
Empire.
Awakens.
Empire.
Yeah.
Yeah, Empire's it's gonna go over Clones, unfortunately,
And then,
even though Clones is
Okay.
my
So let's
favorite.
discuss New Hope and Sith.
Sith, yeah.
It's New Hope for me. Like
It's New Hope. Are you
I would go Sith with this
Really?
one. I would go Sith with this one.
okay? No,
I,
A New Hope because like
it's new. It's the first Star Wars movie.
yeah,
Like it's.
again, like which I brought up and we brought up this episode and other episodes. Like it's like we're older than you, so we like for.
Our trilogy
Our
is
trilogy
different than
was
your
started at
original
that,
trilogy,
and like,
yeah.
and you got to watch probably more Star
well,
Wars.
I would almost put me as I'm a bigger fan of the original trilogy. But
right.
that being said, and I'm gonna get a lot of hate for this. I've seen New Hope probably the least out of all of them.
Okay.
And I'd even go as far as saying I've seen the Family Guy version of New Hope more than actual New Hope. So,
Well,
Family Guy
well,
version.
CPS should have been probably
It is
called on interference for that.
Yeah. So
So
it's-
Solo versus Rogue One.
Yes. So now we got Solo against Rogue One.
So
For me,
Rogue
for
One.
me, it's Rogue One.
Okay, so for me, like we talked about Solo, so Rogue One, I didn't know what to expect really when that movie came out,
right.
and then I saw the movie, and they literally took these characters that what's his face, the dude with the leg.
Oh, to be honest with you,
What the
I've
hell's
watched
the
it a
guy with
couple
the
times, I'm
eye?
not-
What's his name? The hell's his name? The actor, big black dude. He's got the Forrest Whitaker. So you had
Yes.
Forrest Whitaker's character who was in the Clone Wars, the cartoon.
Mhm.
He was really the only character that was in anything else. I think other people were mentioned, but like had minor roles.
No,
So-
yeah.
So you took a bunch of almost original characters that really didn't have to do with anything, and you literally put together a Suicide Squad.
Mhm.
Like coming into this movie, like you knew nobody's surviving. You know you're not going to see a sequel to this movie. This movie, like anybody who knew what Rogue One was, knew it was everything that happened coming up to A New Hope, and it was so good. Like everything about that movie, like it was funny, it was action, it like had the heart, and that Darth Vader scene, like that's the Darth Vader we should have had in the original trilogy. Like when he rolls up in that corridor and he just decimates everything, and he's just and you're just sitting there and you're like, thank you.
Mhm.
Like that's what we should have always had.
Yep.
And the fact that it literally, like, comes up to A New Hope to the second A New Hope starts.
I mean, you can
watch them.
You can watch it. Someone has cut it together.
Yeah, and
it goes from one movie to the next seamlessly.
Rogue One for me, it's
seamless.
Rogue One just is over Solo. It's just a better movie.
Yeah.
Like
if anyone listening plays video games at all, especially the Halo series, I call this movie what's the name of the Halo Reach?
Yeah.
Of this, because Halo Reach is my favorite Halo campaign, and it's right along the same things. It leads right up to the very first Halo. It doesn't have to do with anyone that's actually in it, and it tells the most important story. Like Mike just said on the YouTube thing, he said it tells the most important story, and it really does. You know, and like, it's just so good. And if you know movies at all, the second that the droid gets it, because he's the first one who goes down, like the droid gets it, and you're like, everyone else is gonna die. Mm-hmm. Everyone, like, there's no one's gonna survive. Then I like, okay, like here's the one person that got away and gave. No one is making it out of this alive.
And I hate to do this, but I agree. Agree with Terry over here.
It's great.
Oh yeah, and you know what? That's fine. I would have said Solo over this one, strictly on the fact that I love the idea that Lando had a closet of just his capes alone. So you know what? That's fine.
Strong.
So Rogue One moves on.
So so now we got. Let's see.
Now this is gonna be fun.
We got Return versus Empire, A New Hope versus Rogue One. So
little known fact about me.
Our 4 seeds moved on. No surprise here, but I mean,
Empire Strikes Back is my favorite Star Wars movie, just like a lot of people. And unlike most movies, the fact that it ends on such a dour note is what I like about it, because it's more like real life. Not everything gets wrapped up in a neat little bow and it's explained. And like I said, like when I was a kid, I knew nothing about Star Wars.
Right.
And I watched all 3 of the movies consecutively 3 nights in a row. So I get introduced to this bad guy who's trying to kill this kid. And then the next day I find out that, hey, it's his dad.
Right.
So his dad's trying to kill him. So you got me going to sleep that night one eye open thinking my dad's going to come in and murder me. You know, like... And it's just that movie, like
every season to come in and murk you.
Like Han Solo gets put in carbonite, like, and taken away. Luke loses his hand from his dad and like barely escapes with his life. Han Solo's best friend betrays him, like after like giving him sanctuary. Like everything about that movie, and like that's probably the Star Wars movie I've seen the most. And it's just I love that movie. And
the biggest travesty of that movie is that Princess Leia kisses her brother without her even knowing.
Yeah.
Right.
Awful.
Well,
hands down the biggest.
Yikes.
Anyway, besides the incestual moment of the movie, but like you have that iconic line between Leia and Han, and like where she's like, "I love you," and he's like, "I know."
Genius. Genius.
Like, and it's.
Did you know that he was supposed to say "I love you" too?
Yeah.
And he said, and he was like, I don't think Han Solo would say that, and he was right.
Right. And
you know what I mean?
100% better.
He's what it's a million times better.
And I love Return of the Jedi. Like
right.
you got Carrie Fisher in the bikini in the beginning of the movie. You got.
I love that Jabba gets choked out.
Oh,
I
dude,
love it.
like,
I love it that it
like the barge scene and everything. Like
yeah.
And I feel like that movie is more like you have a lot of space, and then like I love the Ewoks too.
Yep.
Like, and what people forget, these are cannibal bears. Like they eat people, and like you flipped them to be faces. Like, and they're little cannibal bears. They're about to eat you. You know what I mean? And to put them on your side, and like the hover bikes, and I love that movie. And like as a kid, that was my favorite movie. As I got older, it went to Empire, and I do love Jedi. I actually like Jedi a little bit better than A New Hope, but Empire wins this one for me.
For me, Return of the Jedi is my favorite Star Wars movie. It was the first Star Wars movie I ever saw growing up. My dad made me watch it. I didn't even know who Yoda was, and I cried. I was a little kid crying the fact that this little green puppet just faded.
Just
Voiced by
faded
Frank
into
Oz.
nothing. Yeah.
Muppet legend.
It made me so sad, but I'll tell you what. The more I've watched it, the more I have seen how, just little tiny things that make that movie even better. C-3PO is a punching bag through most of the series. He gets his time to shine in that.
Yeah,
and
he's
flow
like their
and be
god.
the king of
He's like the Ewok
Ewoks.
god. Yeah.
They also, the little scene with when the Ewoks first are attacking and Han's like, "What is going on here?" and he's shocked, and you just look over at Luke and he's got this look on his face like he's seen this sort of thing before.
Right.
He has known. It's the same lesson that he learned with Yoda on
Right.
Dagobah in the last movie. And it's like just little things like that I love, and then the ending, of course, with that's my favorite duel in all of Star Wars as well, with Darth Vader and Luke at the end.
Right.
The green lightsaber, dope.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
amazing. It's for me that is the peak, and then the ending with them all going
forest goes-
back to the forest and they're all dancing. It's such a feel good ending. I really
See that's why I like.
love it.
Well, that's why I like Empire better because
Yeah.
it's not the feel good ending.
Yeah.
It's the
Right.
the down.
Oddly enough, Mike and I have had a discussion where I literally said out loud, this is exactly what I said to him. I go, why is Empire everyone's favorite? I understand the reveal and that's big. I was like, but do you understand how little actually happens
yeah.
in Empire? And like Mike obviously just looked at me like, I'm an idiot. And I was like,
You are.
and shut up. And I was like, no, they're on Hoth. They go to the Cloud City, betrayal. Luke's over in Dagobah. Then he goes to the Cloud City. Reveal, Carbonite. New hand.
But
movie's
so
over.
many significant things
Like,
happen.
you know what I
For
mean?
not a lot happening. So
for
many
not a lot.
significant things.
It's like they're literally they're in 3 places in the entire movie, and it's
That's one of the only things, though, I would give Empire over Return, is that I feel like Empire gives the characters more things to do.
It does.
Whereas with Return, obviously, you just have Han and Leia kind of just running around in a forest trying to get
that's
into
the thing
a
with
bunker.
Empire. I feel like the Empire gives more layers to the character.
Yeah.
Gives them more depth.
Right.
Like it shows more of who they are. Where and that sets up
You have more of
Return-
that will they, won't they with Han and Leia as
right.
well.
And
Yeah.
then with Jedi, you have that established so they can run off and do what they have to do.
Exactly. Yeah.
So for me, I've got to give the slight edge of this over to Empire. As much as the certain gripes I have with things about it, for all the reasons that Joe does list.
Don't lie. You're doing this because of that angry mob outside.
Yeah.
You're doing this.
But then we're gonna take it down to Rogue One and New Hope, which is
New Hope.
what
New Hope's what turned me
know.
on to sci-fi as a kid.
Yeah.
Like even though Rogue One might be a better movie, New Hope it holds a special, very special place in my heart that nothing can ever replace. And I've seen New Hope obviously more. Growing up, it's been around a lot longer, and I've been around a lot longer than you, Casey. But a New Hope, it's one of those staples of my childhood and of my fandom, and it's something that not my favorite of the Star Wars movies, but it deserves more than to get kicked out by Rogue One.
You make a good point, but at the same time, Rogue One is a masterpiece, and but you know what though, I'd give it to New Hope as well. I love all of Star Wars, but I would give it to
That saved you from having
saved
That
me.
saved you.
For me, it's Rogue One. My father-in-law even said, Kate and I came home and we said, it's one of the best movies we've ever seen. It's a masterpiece, and their whole family is huge on Star Wars. And Joe said, well, it should be perfect. They've had 30 years to perfect it.
True.
And if you're going to do a movie that's literally a direct prequel, you know what I mean? Like if New Hope is 1, this movie is 0.5. You know what I mean? It's the first thing you really should watch, and then or to that, and it is great. But so now for the win of Star Wars,
My vote goes Empire.
it's Empire versus New Hope.
I would also give it to Empire here.
Oh, well, I don't have to make the choice then.
It's
We've talked about both. So yeah, it's Empire. Win in Star Wars. Empire is the. Mike also says that Empire is the best because it's about Han.
Fair. That's
Which she's always said. We've always every time we've talked about Star Wars movies, he says
but if that's the case, why is Solo so low?
You know, I mean, like because it's Harrison Ford isn't Han in that.
That's fair. That's,
you know
that's
what I mean?
fair. I'll take
Even though Woody Harrelson is in the movie and he's fantastic because he's Woody Harrelson and he's good in everything. So now this doesn't matter, okay?
So now
this doesn't matter, but Khan or Empire.
So okay, this is my.
It does. I mean, it doesn't really matter. It's two completely different things, but. You know, Khan won Star Trek.
This is up to you guys.
Empire won Star Wars.
You've never seen.
Never seen Khan.
Okay, so it's between the three of us.
All right, sounds good. I have to say,
throw that camera on Meech.
Here's the thing. As much as I love the original, now I'm going to give the original trilogy to Star Wars. New Hope, Empire, Return of the Jedi. Now, Return of the Jedi is my favorite Star Wars movie because that's the first movie that I watched. That's what got me into sci-fi. But Wrath of Khan, I think is just, it's such a tough choice, but I think Wrath of Khan is a better movie. It's got more the character development between them is a lot better. It shows, Khan basically shows Kirk aging. It shows that Kirk, isn't what he used to be. Khan is basically what Khan is basically Spock's recruits going on a little tour, but then all of a sudden they have to fight this crazy madman Khan. So to me, I have to give it to Khan over Empire, but it's a tough choice.
Mike, if you're still watching, I know these are like your two favorites, so let me know.
I'm gonna say, Kirk changing, but here you have Han Solo, who doesn't care about anybody but himself. Who has slowly started to, because we didn't even touch upon in the beginning of Empire, the whole scene with the ats and all that. Like, Han is slowly starting, he was like, I'll help you No, I'm not going to help you guys. But literally, the end of Empire just shows he's finally done the complete babyface turn. He's in this. He's finally not thinking about himself. He's willing to, for once in his life, sacrifice his well-being to make sure everybody else is okay. And at the end of the day, you put him in a one-on-one match, James Kirk versus Han Solo. Guess who's coming out on top every single time?
James T. Kirk.
Absolutely not Han
Solo. Yes, absolutely so.
And if you look at the ships, how many Enterprises have there been there, Meech? You said there's quite a long list. There's only one Millennium Falcon, dude.
Because
one.
Because the Millennium Falcon's a piece of junk. They haven't had to use it to basically destroy people. So
Mike says this is an impossible choice, and he can't believe he's going to say this, but he's going to go with Khan. No,
boom!
I am.
Thank you.
Shocked.
Yeah.
Aren't you shocked?
I'm going Empire.
Aren't you? Because he knows Mike.
Star Trek. Yeah. Star Trek. Sorry. Wrath of Khan.
Empire.
Khan is such a better movie.
I mean, let's see.
I hate to say it, and I love Empire. Empire is an awesome fucking movie.
Whoa.
I'm sorry. It's an awesome movie, but Khan is just that much better. It's just that much better.
Think of the people that had to freeze shooting those scenes on Hoth. They were shooting in an actual, it was a blizzard. Right. They had to put the camera outside the hotel door because they were snowed in. Right. And they had Luke running in the snow.
Right.
It's crazy. But you know what?
Oh, man. I mean, if I had to make a choice, I'm...
Weak. The false champion is paranoid, unfit to hold the title which he claims. Cracks in his mental state destroy you.
I'm tired of this stuff. Dude, knock it off. Every week. Oh, I'm tired of it. Tired of it. I'm so tired of this nonsense, dude.
I don't know. I don't think this is a joke.
All the time.
Yeah, I don't know here.
I warned you. I'm the champ now.
Joe,
knock you off.
Joe, get off of him, Joe.
Get
You're
off
killing
of
him.
me.
You're
I'm
killing
gonna
him.
kill him.
Joe, you're killing. No. Joe,
Screw
okay.
this show.
Joe, stop. Murder's not good, Joe. Murder's not good. Murder's not good.
So sick and tired of it.
Oh, are you alright? Bro, you okay, man? Are you okay, bro? Oh my God. Hey, whoa, I'm just the intern.
I'm tired of this, Jared. Tired of it. So tired of this crap. Anybody want any? Come and get it. Stop this computer nonsense. You do it again, you're done. Next time, bring some donuts, Meech.